Okay, good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing okay. So, today we are going to discuss the third video on Chapter 7, Section 3. And this third video is going to show you some real world applications to these systems of equations. So, up until now, I have been very limited on the application problems that I've given you, mainly because of our time constraints of starting the school year a little bit later, as well as having split cohorts. So, this is going to be one of the first actual application problems that you're going to experience. But what I think you're going to find is over time throughout this the course of this year is there's going to be a reoccurring theme, and that reoccurring theme is compound interest, investment. Things like that you're going to see that I'm going to really talk quite a bit about because many of you are seniors and many of you are getting ready to possibly go to a college, a secondary education institution, and you're looking at possibly borrowing a significant portion of money to do that. So I think it's important that you're an informed person and know what you're getting yourself into. So you're going to see me time and time again talk about different finance related application problems. So that's what this is. So as we're looking, here is an example. It says John inherited $25,000 and invested part of it in a money market account, part of it in a mutual bond, and part of it in a mutual fund. After 1 year, he received a total of $1,620 in simple interest from the three investments. The money market paid 6% annually, the bonds paid 7% annually, and the mutual fund paid 8% annually. And it says there was 6,000 more invested in the bonds than the mutual funds. Find the amount John invested in each category. So, first of all, make sure you understand what we're talking about here. This person named John has $25,000. Now, if you just take that money, that $25,000, and you put it in your savings account, unfortunately, I'm here to tell you that at the end of a year, due to inflation, that $25,000 will actually buy less than it did at the beginning of the year. So while it in number form, you're not losing money, you still have $25,000. Your buying power of your money is actually less. So in essence, you have lost money because you can buy less stuff with $25,000 at the end of the year as you could at the beginning of the year. Now, the inflation rate varies from year to year, and that's something you'd have to look up. But so, what most people do to combat against their money losing value because of inflation is they invest it. And there's different ways you can invest. There's different areas you can invest. This particular one is they're investing money in a money market, a municipal bond, and a mutual fund. Now, they're all three things. I'm not going to go into what they are. If you do a quick Google, it's really easy to read and understand what those are. They can explain it better than I can. But after a year, each of those different funds will earn you some money back in the form of interest. And basically, what interest is, it's money that you receive for lending your money out, right? So some investments are riskier than others. Risky investments uh, have a better chance of getting a better return, but they also have a chance of losing money. So that is a possibility. So there's more risk, more reward type of deal, right? So what people do is they split their money up in between different types of funds. Some are higher risk, some are lower risk. So they can balance out their risk and they don't have all of their money in one area. In case that one area had a loss, you're not going to lose all of your money. You'll only lose part of it. And maybe another area gains money. So it washes each other out and it's a wash. So each one of these funds pays a little bit different interest. And so that's the next thing we need to discuss. So as I'm working through here, I'm going to highlight some of the important information. First thing to note is $25,000. That is important to the problem. And it says after 1 year, they received a total interest of 1,620. That is also very important. And so we can see that there is a 6% annual interest, a 7% annual interest, and then 8% annual interest. Those are pretty good rates of return, by the way. The next thing to see is that there was 6,000 more invested in bonds than mutual funds. And the last thing that we're going to talk about is I'm going to underline, find the amount John invested in each category. So the question or the statement telling you what to do is where we want to start. Okay. And what we want to start by doing is defining our variables. What are the unknowns? What are we trying to figure out? And so the question, or in this case, a statement that's telling you what to do, says find the amount John invested in each category. So we're going to call X, and we're going to go right in order. X is going to be the amount of money in the money market. Okay, you can see money market account. The next one is going to be the municipal bonds. So Y is going to be the money in municipal bonds. And then Z is going to be the money in the mutual fund. All right, so now we have our variables established. Now here's something that's important to remember that I don't believe that I've mentioned in any of the previous videos from 6.3 or 7.1. When you have three variables, you must have three equations in order to solve those. And so the general rule is you need to have as many equations as you have variables so you can actually solve the system. If you have more variables than you have equations, the system is not solvable. You can come up with multiple answers possibly, but there is not going to be one distinct answer. And in this case, we're looking for one distinct answer. So we have three variables. We're going to need to formulate and write down three equations based on the information that we've highlighted. Okay. So now, as we're looking over there, I'm actually going to write the equations on the right-hand side of that little picture I have. And if you didn't catch on to the picture, it's money and it's growing. That's the idea of investing. So we're going to start with the 25,000 that we have highlighted. So remember, X represents the amount of money in the money market, Y represents the amount of money in the municipal bonds, and Z is the amount of money in mutual funds. And so we know the total amount of money is $25,000. So that lets us write a very simple equation, X plus Y plus Z equals 25,000 dollars, just like that. There's our first equation. So we can cross out 25,000 because we've used that. Now the next one's a little trickier. The next one is going to have to deal with the amount of interest. We do see that the total amount of interest that we earned is 1,620. So we know this is going to be 1,620 like this. But how you calculate interest, if you think of how you calculate tax, right? If you have a total of $10, like whatever you're buying is $10, in Allegheny County, there's a 7% sales tax on that. So you'll actually end up paying 70 cents additional on the $10 that you owe for whatever you bought. And so in this case, you would multiply 0.07 times the 10, which would give you zero point 0.7, which is 70 cents. In our problem here, you can see we don't know how much money we have in the money market, but we do know that it's going to earn 6% annually. So you do need to convert that percentage to a decimal before you use it. So it's going to be 0.06x. So there's our 6% of the money market. The municipal bond is 7%. So we got 6% from our money market. We're going to get 7% from however much money we have in our municipal bond. And the last investment, we actually earned 8%. So that's going to be 0.08z. And you can see 0.06x plus 0.07y plus 0.08z is equal to 1,620, the total amount of interest we earned. So we have used this, this, and so as you could see, as I work through the problem, I like to cross out the highlighted stuff that I've used. You can see there's still something highlighted we haven't used though. It says there was 6,000 more invested in the bonds than the mutual fund. So the bonds were higher than the mutual fund, right? So if I have my mutual fund, which the mutual fund is Z, I'm going to write this off to the side here for a second, and the mutual fund is 6,000 more than I'm sorry, the bonds are 6,000 more than the mutual fund. So if I take the mutual fund amount, which is Z, and I add 6,000 to it, I will get the number that's in the bonds, and the bonds are Y. So let's look at that again for a second, because this is the one that people usually mess up. If you take $6,000 and you add it to the mutual fund, that will give you the total municipal bonds, because it says there was 6,000 more invested in bonds than mutual funds, which means bonds is the bigger amount. Now, if you look at that equation, that is not in the same form as the other ones. The other ones have the X and the Y and the Z on one side and a number on the other. So we need to manipulate this equation, the 6,000 plus Z equals Y, so the variables are all on one side. And so when I do that, if I move the Z to the other side, I'm going to get Y minus Z equals 6,000. Okay, and now I can put that in like that, and there are my three equations. Okay, now from there, I'm going to take those equations, put them into my graphing calculator, and solve it. So let's do that. So as soon as this boots up, we'll be ready to go. All right, so we're going to hit second matrix. I am going to, we'll put it in for matrix A, that's fine. So we'll go over to edit, choose A. It is going to be a 3 by 4 again, and we're going to put our variables in. So not variables, our coefficients of our variables. So in this case, the first one's going to be 1, 1, 1, and then 25,000. The second one is going to be 0.06, 0.07, 0.08, and then 1,620. And the last one is going to be 0 for X, 1 for Y, and -1 for Z, and then 6,000. Okay, so we have all of our data entered in for matrix A. I'm going to quit, go to the home screen. I'm then going to hit second matrix. I'm going to scroll actually first I got to go to math. Then I'm going to scroll all the way down to reduced row echelon form. Hit enter. One more time, second matrix, and then choose matrix A and close a parentheses. So now we're telling the calculator to find the reduced row echelon form of matrix A. Matrix A is where we put all of our information in. We hit enter, and you can see the answer. And the answer is X, which is the money in the money market, is $15,000. Y, the money at the municipal bonds, is 8,000, and Z, the money in the mutual fund, is 2,000. And that's it. So hopefully that problem made sense. You will have a couple of problems like this to do for practice. So let me know if you have any questions. I'll be happy to help. Have a great day.